In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to build a lead re-engagement agent where we can reach out to old prospects that we've done business with in the past and create some custom emails using notes we've got in our CRM. So how we're going to build this is we're going to have our CRM, which is going to be based over in our Airtable tab. And then we are going to build our workflow over in N8N. And this is going to trigger, well, you can trigger it how often you want, but I'm going to trigger this so that it goes every day. So every day, this workflow is going to check if we've got any leads that haven't been engaged with in over 3 months. Again, you can obviously change this to be however long you want. But in this workflow, it's if we haven't engaged them in over 3 months, we're then going to find that record, and then we're going to loop through all the items that it finds, and then we're going to create some custom emails and send these out to our prospects. In this workflow, I am basing it off being a sales agency, which represents an AI automation company, so a company like myself. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to create our Airtable. So this is going to be acting as our CRM in this case. And you can see that we've got a few columns here. So we've got the name of the customer, we've got the sales agent that they had previously interacted with, the email that we're going to be sending out these emails to, the last engagement time, so this is really important, and some key notes on some of these customers. So what kind of business they're in, what they said they were interested in the past but never got over the line, if they've had solutions they've bought previously, things of that nature. And we're going to use these notes to write some really good custom emails that we can send out to these customers. To create our Airtable that we're going to be using as our CRM, the first thing you want to do is you want to add a workspace. So click create a workspace here, and then you want to add a table in, and you're going to click on build an app on your own. And now I've called it, this is for our sales agency. You can name this whatever you want. Again, you can name the table whatever you want. But the important part here is that we've got our table now where we're going to be storing our customers' data. Now I'm going to get rid of all of these table columns, and I'm going to show you the ones that we need to add. So we're going to leave the name on as this is going to stay. The first one we want to add is our sales agent, and we're going to leave this as long text. Call it sales agent, create field. Now our next one is going to be email. So we're going to hit the email button there. Again, create field. And now we're going to search for a date field, and this is going to be the last engagement date. Our last one, which is really important, is going to be notes. Again, this is going to be a long text field type. I'm going to call this notes, and that is all the columns that we want. Really simple. So what you want to do now is just go ahead and put some test data in here, or some real customer data if you want to. But the name, you want to put a sales agent they'd recently engaged with, their email, their last engagement, and some notes. So I've just gone over to the Airtable that I'd created in the past, but you can copy these details if you want. So for 3 different people, the sales agent, I've obviously put my email in here so we can actually test this and see us receiving the email. And you want to put a last engagement date and some notes in here. I'll provide some details on this so you can copy over into your workflow if you really want. But the important part that we actually want to put in is the last engagement date. So you want to put in 2 last engagements that are going to be over 3 months old. And this is going to allow us to test this workflow properly. So it's going to be this first one, which is Melissa Brown, which was engaged with on the 1st of December 2025, and also Matt Dame, which was the 4th of November 2025, both of which are over 3 months ago. This one isn't over 3 months ago, so we shouldn't get an email for Julie King. Okay, now this is going to be the workflow that we're going to build in N8N. I've got a manual trigger here, but in reality, you'd have a schedule trigger, which would be going off every day or so. So the first step that we're going to add is our schedule trigger node, as you just saw. So I'm going to put that in here, and we're going to put the trigger interval to be days, and days in between triggers is 1. That's fine. And we're going to put it to trigger at 7 a.m. We don't want people getting emails at midnight. That's fine. Okay, that is our first step complete. Now, our next node, what we're going to do is we're going to search through our Airtable records to see if there's been any leads that we haven't engaged with in over 30 days. So I'm going to search for my Airtable module here, add, and we are going to search records. Now, you want to go and connect your Airtable with a personal access token. And there's loads of videos that show you how to do this on YouTube. It's really simple. It'll take you literally less than 2 minutes to set up. Once you have connected your Airtable to N8N, you want to select the base. So mine's called top sales in this case. And then you want to select the table. So mine's called leads. So if you go over here, you can see that top sales is the base and leads is the name of the table. In the filter by formula, it's really important. You want to put this in. And don't worry, I'm going to have all of this in my free school community. So go over there to get a hold of this template. You don't have to remember this, you just be able to copy it over. But you want to have this formula, and what this is going to allow us to do is that if there's been any leads that have been over 3 months ago, it's going to pull these in, and all the others that have been engaged with lately are not going to be included. Okay, and now we want to loop through each of the items that we're going to get. So we're going to search for a loop over items, and then we can leave that batch size as 1, that's fine. And we're going to go over this quickly. And then we want to add an AI agent here. We're going to change this to define below. We're going to come back to the prompt message in a second. And we're going to add a system message. Now, going into our prompt use message, I'm just going to open this up quickly, make sure it is on expression. Make sure this is on expression here. And now these are blank because we haven't run the previous node, so you can't see these items. But what this is going to do is it's going to pull the information from our Airtable data in our previous node, and we've got all the information about each of the items that comes through. So we've got the name of the candidate, or the client, sorry. We've got their last engagement date. We've got what the current date is. We've got our previous sales agent they've interacted with, the email, and notes on the client. So it's got all of the information it needs to write a really good email. If I open up the system message as well, we can see it's quite a short prompt actually, but we've got some instructions. So we're telling it that it's a sales assistant from Top Sales, so it's role, and what data it's going to be given in our user prompt. And then it's instructions about writing a compelling email. Once we have identified all the information that we want, we're going to use the Gmail tool and we're going to send off this email to our client. Okay, so we just need 2 more parts now. We need to add a chat model and also our Gmail tools. Let's do that. So on our chat model, I'm just going to add an OpenAI one. It's not too big of a deal which one you add. Change this to GPT-4 Mini, 4.1 Mini, there we go. And then I'm going to add a Gmail tool here. So you want to hit add on the tool icon, and then we're going to search for a Gmail tool. Now we're going to leave the 2 for AI to fill that in, the subject as well. You can define that yourself if you want, but I'll just let AI define it. We're going to change the email type to be text, and then we're going to let AI define the message as well. Everything. You can add some descriptions in here if you want to make it really clear to the AI. That is our workflow from start to finish. So I'm going to run it now and show you how it actually works in person. Okay, so I've just gone and replaced this with a manual trigger because I don't want to wait a day for this to go off. But I'm going to hit execute workflow here, and this should go through everything. And then I should receive 2 emails in my inbox. One should be for Melissa Brown, and the other should be for Matt Dame. So let's see if it works. Okay, so it's going through the workflow now. It's pulled in 2 items, so all's looking good so far. That's great, so it's gone through everything correctly. We can see that it's called the Gmail tool twice, so I should have 2 emails in my inbox. Okay, great, so we've got our first one here, which is to Melissa, and it's written a really good email. So it says, I hope this message finds you well. It's pleased with the voice agent that we implemented for your dental clinic. So if I go to our notes in here, you can see that we mentioned that they were very happy with the voice agent that we implemented before, but they were busy to do some more AI automations. It's mentioned that just here. So it's mentioned how that she wanted to automate some admin tasks, but life got busy and we didn't get a chance to get around to that. Got the rest of this email with a some really good messaging, and then it said, let me know if you'd like to set up a quick call or demo, and happy to work around your schedule. And if you notice that it's actually said kind regards from Tom, which was the previous sales agent that they interacted with as well. So it seems like a really personalized email from the specific person that they interacted with. The same thing on our Mac client. So again, hope this email finds you well, mentioning about setting up the possibility of an AI receptionist for your restaurant. So if I go over to our Airtable here, it says it owns a restaurant, and last mention wants to set up an AI receptionist. So it's mentioning some direct notes that we have in our CRM. Again, it's signed off by Millie, who was the last sales agent that they interacted with. So that is how you build a lead re-engagement agent, which is going to follow up with clients you might have not interacted with in a while. And these are always really good clients to get in contact with because they're warm connections. You've had previous conversations with them in the past, and this is a lot better to re-engage with than cold leads.